Hi guys. So I've decided to do a random live tonight. Just for designers, if you have any product or UX design questions, feel free to um, go ahead and drop them in the chat if that's why you're here, if you follow me or not. Um, I think in the meantime, I'm going to show you these cute little illustrations that I didn't do them. I got them done for an app. Let me see if I can switch my camera around. hmm Yeah, I'll show you guys this. So these were some illustrations that I got done for a dog park app that I was designing. I worked with an illustrator to do these, um, and I love them so much. I have a Shiba Inu, which they were inspired off the back of. And then here's some kind of different sceneries and things for, they were just some of the app backgrounds and things. So it was, yeah, just really nice, really fun. I look at them from time to time. I had the app up live in the store, I don't know, hundreds of downloads and stuff like that, but then I just couldn't maintain it. So, yeah, I decided to take it off the App Store and let it go, but I do love these illustrations. Okay, I see I have a question. I'm going to jump right in because I'm only doing this until my food comes for delivery. So let me switch my camera back around. Okay, so question, what is the difference between a product designer and a UX designer? There is not a standard across the board on what that actually means. You can absolutely have the same roles and responsibilities listed in a job description for a UX design title and a product design title. Um, and that's kind of where I've seen most of the job roles and things kind of go, and that's the direction that they've taken. But you can also find UX specific roles, which essentially what that means is that you do a lot of all of the UX methodologies. You probably lean a little bit into research, putting research proposals together. You kind of have a pretty wide tool kit of UX kind of practices and stuff, and you don't necessarily do the UI. So there's also UI specific roles. Whereas a product designer, and I think this is what it was kind of intended for originally, is that product designers do both. They very much do the UI side and the UX side of the actual design process. So I think that's what it was intended for, but now it's just a bit of a it's a bit of a mix. It's a bit of a free for all, if we're being honest. So UX designers in title can absolutely still be required to do the visual part of the role as well. It just really depends on the company, size of the company, etc. So it's more important to pay attention to the actual job responsibilities than it is the title, just because there unfortunately just is no standard. I've been called a UX designer and have done the visual side now, and then the company eventually switched over to just calling us all product designers because we were essentially doing product design roles. So that's just kind of what it is. So if you guys are joining and you have any design, UX, product design questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. And I will try to get to them. I'm doing this live until my food comes, my delivery food comes. So it won't be too long, depending on how fast they are. But I just really, yeah, wanted to pop on here and see if you guys have any questions. I recently moved to the Netherlands. Awesome. Work in web design. What do you do for fun in the Netherlands? Oh my gosh. I don't know that I've done fun in a while. No. I'm going through a huge home renovation, and that's been my entire life for like a year and a half now. But what I do for fun, I love bowling. I do a lot of bowling. Classic American saying that they bowl. But I'm actually in a league, and then I just do that for fun. I'm actually going to take my mom to a roller skating rink, a new one that's just popped up here. I think it's just outside of Amsterdam, oh, actually no, it's in Noord. It's in Amsterdam Noord. I just looked it up. I go play pool, darts, and what else? I'm not a festivals going out partying type person. I'm an 80-year-old living in a 30-year-old body. So if and none of those things don't align with you, then I mean, fair. But yeah, those are kind of like my go-to things. When it's really nice out, obviously do all the things that everybody else does, which is go to the parks, take my dog to the park, go to the beach. Only when it's very, very warm, which is obviously very rare, but can be super nice. And then do for fun, travel a lot. The Netherlands is just such a perfect central hub to just be traveling all of Western Europe, and a lot of other places as well. So yeah, that's my list of fun things. I saw another question. Do you think a double diamond or lean UX is still a thing? Is there a new wave of processes? Um, Hmm. I think they're both super, super relevant. I use Double Diamond a lot, and Double Diamond in theory it's more theoretical, right? Like a Double Diamond isn't necessarily super, super practical. I would say a lot of big companies tend to lean on the right side of the diamond, where it's just more delivery, iteration, and they kind of go through that part of the diamond quite a lot. But if you're in more discovery work or you work on more strategic initiatives, then you will be doing both sides of the diamond. Um, yeah, so it's definitely relevant. It just kind of depends on where you're positioned in the company and the status of the company. If it's very mature, you're going to find yourself more on the far right, not doing a lot of discovery, doing a lot more delivery and iteration. But if it's a little bit newer or even a newer part of the company, then you'll be doing a bit more of that divergence, right, in kind of the discovery work. Yeah, lean UX. Honestly, I don't hear lean UX really mentioned all that much. But again, in the theory of lean UX, yeah, absolutely. It's super, super relevant. But I would never take any processes super, super literally. You kind of very much need to have a good practice in adapting them to whatever environment you're in and then applying the parts that you actually need and or are relevant. I find I've come across some designers that are they're like, this is how it was written. I'm going to follow the processes to the T. And I find that stakeholders get really frustrated with that because it takes much, much, much longer, for example, than potentially needed. So yeah, being adaptable being takes much, much, much longer, for example, than potentially needed. So yeah, being adaptable, being flexible in your processes and applying different parts of different processes to different things, super valuable in your skill set. On which website can I get projects to improve my portfolio? Projects like case studies, like actual work. I just literally my last video I just posted on where to find good design briefs. So if you don't have actual work, you're not freelancing, etc., go check out that video. It says don't use these or something like this. Anyways, it talks about the ones to not use and then the brief generators to use as well. I highly recommend those. I think it's good briefs and fake clients. But I give you, yeah, you can see some screenshots on that video as well. Those are the only two I would ever recommend. There are a lot of prompt generators out there that are no good and don't use them. Okay, nice. It was just Dutch Design Week. It was sick. Oh, right. I've seen that pop up here and there. We used to have a Portland Design Week. I used to live in Portland, Oregon, back in the States, and the design weeks were always super cool. Go visit different agencies and stuff. I haven't done the one over here. I think I think I'm just old and boring. But I have seen kind of the itineraries and things pop up every year. Spreek je Dutch? Een beetje. Just the barely, not even enough to get by, but just enough to have like the smallest of interactions that I need to. So I am probably going to start learning it though, because um, when I do league, and it's obviously a bit of an older audience, and everybody speaks Dutch. And now I'm finally immersed fully into an environment where I want to learn it, whereas I need to speak English for my job and consistently through my day to day. And then Dutch people, they switch because they speak English a lot better than anybody who's learning Dutch. So yeah, so hopefully that's kind of going to be my goal for the next year. What do you think about the AI features in Figma? Does it make you nervous? No. No, I don't think the AI features in Figma make me nervous. I do think they are going to shift our roles and responsibilities as designers, but I think that's fine. Uh, I don't, there's going to be the kind of less of this middle ground of, or need for a lot of the visual skills because a lot of the utilitarian tools, let's say like the Amazons, the Facebooks, the sites like that, that pretty much just have a design system in place. um, you're not going to sit there and need to like micro move pixels around for a single component until your mind is numb. Because AI can easily do that for us. And I love tedium removed from my processes. So if we're talking about that actual generation of UI, I'm here for it. I think there will still be roles and for really creative designers, those websites that are a little bit more art than they are kind of usable design. And then designers just have to be really good to know like what good looks like, right? So even Figma right now, they're not great at generating good design or with any reason. And then I think UX and product designers are just going to have to be a bit more expand their strategy skills a little bit more. So I'm actually excited. I like the movement in which we're going into, and then just AI being able to summarize workshops and all the things that just take so much time and tedium. I love that AI can remove that so that I can focus on what I think are actually the more important things. And then I think there's always going to be roles for kind of humans to establish a lot of of what the product will entail, but then AI can just kind of help us make that come to life. And then also just, I'm super excited about how AI actually changes the way that we can design products. Imagine a fully personalized experience for each user and thinking about the modularity of your interface rather than just doing something static. I'm actually leading a project around AI right now at my day-to-day job. And it's just really cool to think about. And it's very complicated. It's very complex. It's very challenging. But for me, that's super exciting. Kind of being in tech for a long time, you kind of, when these waves of technology changes and bits of changes to how we have to perceive the products that we're designing, just super cool. Just I'm super excited about it. I know some people are scared, but um, yeah, realistically, like this isn't the first big change for us as designers, right? Maybe within our lifespan if you're a little bit younger, but the dot-com era came around, when Flash came around, oh shit, when video became a huge component of design and stuff like this. It's yeah, to me it's not like it's going to take our jobs. It's like we're kind of in tech in knowing that you need to adapt and kind of transform as a designer and where the needs are, if that makes sense. So yeah. Okay, I think I'm only gonna do a few more, and just in case my delivery ends up at the at the door, I don't want to be running downstairs. Do you think it's worth going into UX with the market right now and layoffs? I'm trying so hard. Ugh. Yeah, it's tough. It's super tough. I'm not gonna sit here and say like, oh, easy breezy, because you already know that that's not the case. For those who stick with it and can get in, I think it will be worth it. It's a really lucrative kind of career once you get in. It's challenging, it's fast, it's adaptive. There's a lot of flexibility in the different routes and paths that you can take within UX design. So for those willing and who can stick with it, obviously you have to have, financial setup, the time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It can really, really benefit you, but it's not going to be easy. The bar is quite a lot higher after the post-pandemic kind of surge or whatever you call it. But it can really, really pay off. What I recommend to everybody is that you should try to get freelancing work. You should try to work for smaller, not corporate America, not tech America, or tech European, whatever you can call it, not big corporations, is what I'm trying to say. Try to get freelancing gigs. And that's actually how I got into design. I transitioned from a developer into designer. The way I got that experience, I didn't even do internships. I just charged, a small amount to like mom and pop shops to give me that experience of having real work in my portfolio. And that's what got me a job at like a mid-level company. So if you can stick with it, there's a high probability it'll pay off. But I feel you. It's not easy out there right now. Is ageism an issue in the UX industry? I um I don't think so. I like personally, I don't really notice a difference, and I've worked with quite a lot older people as well. I think there's a there's just a perception of how adaptable are you? Like, are you an older person, but you're stuck in, the early 2000s technology? Then yeah, you're probably gonna have some bias against you. You're not adapting, you're not following along the trends, you're not as quick, whatever. Um, but that's the only thing that's going to get you really kind of some looks or some bias, like maybe takes on you as a person. But like straight up is just having, like, if anything, if you're somebody who's been around through the dot-com era, through some of these larger changes in technology, like if anything, people like me or even younger are going to be like, whoa, what was that like? Tell me all about it. Like, what was building Photoshop like, or what was it like before Google? Like, I think it's just more curiosity I've seen, but maybe that's just my own like narrow little bubble. But having seen and kind of worked with older people, the only thing that's really going to get you bias is not changing. But that is just kind of relevant for anybody, I think. Okay. Oh, you guys, wow. Okay. There's not so many of you, but you guys came and you did tons of questions. I literally can't even keep up. So you're just making me think that I need to do this more. Which daily use item is irritating you the most for its bad UX? Its daily use item. Oh, daily use item. Oh, what? I feel like there was just something the other day that was so terrible in its usability. What was it though? The thing that's coming to my mind is friggin' train stations. It's not a UX, like, I mean, it is UX, but it's not like digital UX necessarily. But the kind of flow of personnel on in train stations, train platforms, train things, awful. Just so awful. And it irritates me to if I think of the other one though, I had a digital product the other day. I was like, are you serious? Are you serious right now? Oh, okay. 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 I'm just gonna sorry. Okay. You have a psych background with background in research. How would you look to employers? If you want to become a UX product designer, you have to get the design experience. It's not enough just to go off your background. Do you need a boot camp to build a portfolio? Absolutely not. But I will say it absolutely depends on the type of person that you are. If you are a go-getter, self-driven, can spend the excess time to be like a self-taught UX or product designer, great, good for you. But I personally, if I was doing it all over again, I probably would go through lots of crappy ones out there, so be careful. But I would probably go through a boot camp or some sort of course that was a little bit more structured. I work better when I have accountability. I also work better when I have somebody reviewing my work and I get the reassurance that I'm headed in the right direction. So no, you don't, but you really need to look at yourself and know what type of person you are and how you learn and how you're going to benefit the most, whatever you come out with, whether it's the self-taught route or the bootcamp route, etc. But if you are just now transitioning into UX or product design, start cheap. Start with the free courses, the free things that are out there. And then once you know for sure you're serious about it, then look at maybe investing a little bit more time and money. How do you find it being a designer in Europe versus US? Likes, dislikes. I got a straight easy answer on this. I work for an American company and I'm in the Netherlands. So I don't think I'm the best person to answer that. I will say, at least in the Netherlands, I can't speak for all of Europe, but the work-life balance is exponentially better in Europe. Like, so much better. But I can't say like I can't even say there's a big difference for being a designer other than that. Just people respecting your time, your space, your sick leave, your holidays. Um, Oh, it's just, oh, it's so nice over here compared to the States where everybody's like, work until you bleed. So, but yeah, I'm still working for an American company, so not the best. Um, okay. Literally one more question, guys. Sorry. And then I'm gonna try to do another live more Wednesdays. It's been a while. Okay. I joined the. Mm, I'm in college. Oh, college debt. Oh, I feel you. If you're in college, like brick and mortar college, I was there. Had all that debt. Thank you. US debt as well. Um, teaching yourself, ooh, with ADHD, rough. Yep. You're broke, trying your best. Okay, favorite book about UX. Let me see. Let me get the title right. It's like Designing for Emotion. Yep, Designing for Emotion by Aaron Walter. One of my all-time favorite books. So good. Just great. Great book. I also like Articulating Design Decisions. That one's just more impactful, but like my favorite kind of read is Designing for Emotion by Aaron Walter for sure. Uh, college debt and then boot camp debt. Um, it's rough. College just, yeah, so expensive. Okay. How would you best pivot? There's a couple of people it looks like trying to pivot or has different backgrounds and stuff like that. I'd highly recommend if you're trying to pivot, go check out my learning guide. It seems wrong. Like if you're a PM, um, then you're ahead of the game. Straight up, you have a really big advantage over other people, but you gotta get the visual design experience. You got to get the UX methodology experience if you want to transition. It's you got a lot of the business knowledge, and you got a lot of understanding of KPIs and metrics and success and blah blah blah. Great, amazing. You got to get the other side of it, and then once you have that full package, you'll be so set, be so good. Same goes for everybody. Fill in the gaps of what is required of a designer on top of the experience that you and background that you might already have. Um, you've been learning US. I'm struggling to find a job. Where do you suggest? I have, if you go on medium.com, and you type in UX Survival Guide, find my article on there. It's like the ultimate guide to job board listings or something like that. Um, I dug around for so many hours finding and collating this like list of job listing sites. So please go on there. But I also cannot recommend enough. Try to get low level freelancing gigs first. That's such an easier transition than trying to get into a company fresh out of learning. Okay. Um, it's just it's the path that I took. It's the path that I see a lot of people take, and it's just an easy transition to get kind of your feet wet in actual real client work, and then enough to impress, maybe kind of more established companies. Okay, that's it. Okay. My recommend suggestions for a good boot camp. I have one that I have rigorously gone through the curriculum myself, and learned things myself, if you can believe it. If you go to my website, I'm going to show you this, and then this will be the last thing. I swear, I do this every time, but if you go on my website, let me flip it around real quick, and I'll just walk you through this. Okay, you're looking at it. Go there, uxsurvival.guide. Okay. And then if you go to my resources, real quick, resources right there, and then you go to this UX UI bootcamp right here. I have gone through Springboard's curriculum just so thoroughly because so many boot camps reached out to me wanting to partner with me or whatever, and I shut them down because I thought they were all shit. And I literally took 2 weeks to go through in detail in their curriculum, and I think they set you up for mega success for everything that you do need to like get an actual UX or product design role. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys so much for joining. This has been super cool. There's already 30 of you, and I've just done this impromptu. So I will try to run more of these. If you want to get kind of like notified of these, I try to like schedule a little event ahead of time so you know when I'm going live. But yeah, thanks so much for your questions, and I'll see you guys later.